Well, believe it or not, Stuart, I actually have a planting project I'm going to be doing today. I know, it's going to be in a container, and I will reveal that project once we get to the backyard. But I did want to comment on some of the comments you all had, because it was just a brilliant observation. We were doing it anyway, but it's a good tip to share. Cool. And that is, Fernando is putting in the valve boxes today for the sprinkler system. And before he completes the job and before we fill in the trenches, what we're going to be doing is taking images of where everything is. So we will know if there are problems, issues down the line. We'll know exactly where the valve boxes are, where the lines run, and we will have a visual of every line, every juncture point that relates to the irrigation system. And we'll be doing that on the other side as well. Several of you made the observation that that was a good thing to do in the event of problems down the line. You'll be so happy that you did it. And we have been doing that very practice. And not only that, these images will remain in my file at Kayla's, so that I don't really even need to keep track of them myself, though I have taken some pictures. But she will have them in my file, so if ever there is an issue, all she has to do is just access those digital images. I think that's a great idea, don't you, Stuart?
Indeed.
Now, one more thing. Okay, so I've got on some of my wonderful Cool Job gloves. You guys know I love these. And yeah, there we go. And on Sunday, as a reminder, on Sunday we're going to do Linda Vodder Live at 2 o'clock, April 2nd, day after Stuart's birthday. And we're going to be giving away some of these gloves. So you want to make sure to stay tuned and participate. Be there or be square. Okay, so Stuart, let's just do a little revolution from this aspect.
The porch looks nice.
Of the property. Doesn't it look great? And later today, we're getting the window box. I'm so excited. That may be in another video, but we're getting the window box. And this is pretty funny, Stuart. Kayla told me this morning that she had 2 appointments with customers who were trying to strong arm her into telling and revealing beforehand what the color of the window box was, but she stood strong. She stood strong. Okay, I've also noticed that there are some cookies up there stranded.
Oh, wow.
Stranded on the windowsill, because now nobody can walk on the steps or on the pathway to the front porch until it dries. So, okay, Stuart, what do you say? You want to go to the back?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. Well, I am so happy, and I feel so much more comfortable, I guess, being behind the potting bench, because I've got a potting project today that I think is going to be absolutely phenomenal. I'm going to pot up these gorgeous topiary encore azaleas. I'm not sure exactly what variety they are, but it's one of the bicolored pinks. This was part of the huge delivery of plants that I got yesterday from Encore Azalea, Southern Living, Better Boxwood, and of course a lot of them can't go in the ground for a little while because we are still figuring out what's going to be done in the front, the order of things to come, and also lots of dirt work. But I nevertheless am I just have itchy fingers, Stuart, to get started on planting something. So I'm going to start out with these Encore Azaleas, because frankly, they keep blowing over because they're a little bit top heavy. So one of the things that I want to emphasize today is really proper container planting techniques for these azaleas in particular, but some other things in general. And that's how you can reuse some existing potting soil. So both of these pots, these old beat up pots that I really love so much, these are going to be hosting the Encore Azalea topiaries. Now, they are both filled with dirt, and I have excavated out, I would say maybe a half of what was in them, and the amount is about this much. Okay, now that's important because while it's not an exact measurement, I will give you an exact ratio. So this is old soil. It wasn't growing anything that was diseased or that had any kind of pests or vermin in it. So in other words, it's just really fairly good and well-draining soil. But nevertheless, I want to get these azaleas off to a very, very good start. So I am going to be adding some of this. Look at how beautiful this is. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? This is a new kind of potting soil that I'm trying. It's made up in Tulsa. It is called, let me see here, it's called GP Soils, Living Organic Soils, Infused Living Soil Superior Grade All Natural Potting Mix for the complete life cycle of your plant. So I love the fact that it's made relatively locally, but also the fact that it's all natural. So I'm going to fill up this same container with this new fresh potting mix. And by the way, this is typically the same technique that I use when I'm potting up other container plantings. It's a way to reuse soil that might be a little bit spent, but nevertheless still has some value to it. And it also saves you money. Okay, so this then will make my new mix an exact 50-50 blend. 1 part old soil to 1 part new soil. Stuart, we've done a video on this in the past where for really large quantities at the other house, we dumped it all out onto a big tarp and we just kind of did this. We just mixed it all together really well. And then because these azaleas are heavy feeders, I'm going to add a little bit of Osmocote, which is a slow release fertilizer. I'm going to mix that in. And you may be wanting to know, where are these azalea topiaries going to live? And honestly, right now, I am not sure. I just know that they will be positioned in a place of prominence. And when I am ready to stage my front porch and stage my side porch, these will be ready to rock and roll at my behest. Okay, so you can see here, there's still a little bit of the old soil in this pot. And I'm going to gauge it. I want to make sure that it's about maybe 6 inches larger than the diameter of the root ball, and I think that's going to be just the ticket.
Looks like it.
And also, Stuart, these are going to be sturdy enough.
Oh, they're pretty heavy, huh?
Well, yeah, they're not prohibitively heavy, but they're going to be sturdy enough so they will not blow over on the very windy, at the site of the very windy cottage on the hill. Now, I was thinking this morning, Stuart, that yes, the wind kind of does bug me, but it is March in Oklahoma. So we have to kind of expect that, because it's in like a lion, out like a lamb, but the wind continues to come whipping down the plain. Okay, so this is a little bit deep, and I want to make sure that not only do I have fresh soil around the perimeter of the plant, but I also want to make sure that I've got some fresh soil at the bottom. But I started to say that when it gets windy now, I just kind of reframe it and I think, oh, it's kind of romantic. It's like in Wuthering Heights, where Heathcliff is shouting out Kathy's name on the moors. On the windy, windy moors, with the smell of heather wafting through the air. What do you think, Stuart?
I think it's quite beautiful.
Okay, so I'm going to rough up this root ball a little bit. You can see it's rather compacted. I have watered it.
Is there too much roughing possible?
I don't know. I have found that I would rather, I think there's more potential damage from it growing in a circle and getting root bound
than what you could do.
Than what I'm doing. And again, I've moistened it. Now, if you were really concerned, you could probably do this just by shooting some jets of water at it.
Break off the side stuff.
And break out some of the side stuff. And I've already watered these. And I kind of just don't want to waste that much water. So I'm loosening this up, and this isn't too pot bound. It's got some good, it looks like whatever they were growing it in also had some pecan holes, which is my preferred soil amendment because azaleas like slightly acidic soil. Anything really below 7, 5 to 6 is good for them. And pecan holes are slightly acidic, as are oak leaves. So if I had some oak leaves, I could also place some of that in there to break down. What was that, Stuart?
Do you need me to hold it?
I know
like
it's
it's
kind
gonna
of.
stay.
I know it's not cooperating, so I just can do this. There's just enough of a breeze, but this shows. See how top heavy they are,
Yep.
and why they immediately needed to be repotted into another container. So it can kind of do that for a minute if it wants to.
Apparently it does.
As I put some more soil in here. And our backdrop today, Stuart, isn't very pretty.
Hey, I don't think that's true.
But the backyard, as you guys well know, is still in progress, and we have not started on it. The other reason it's not standing up straight is because this bamboo cane that is being used to stake it has rotted off at the bottom, which often happens, I have noticed. Okay, put this in. And azaleas really want good drainage, and this will give them good drainage, but also because the container is larger, it will keep me from having to water so frequently. Now, azaleas in general, and encores in particular, they're shallow-rooted plants. They're not going to go real deep, but they are going to spread out lots of surface roots, and that's what I want to make sure have really good soil. Now, what I will probably do at a later date is come back in and put another cane support in place so that it will stand up and fly right.
I
know,
it's
it
just
just
gonna go
keeps-
right over.
And it's really not, it's
holding
not even,
better now, yeah.
It's not really even that windy today. It's just enough of a breeze. Enough
Those
of a
little
breeze.
gusts are what are doing
Yes.
it, right? Yeah.
Yes. And I need to push that soil down in there.
I started to angle the camera with the plant, and I was like, oh, that's not.
You
really-
what?
I started to turn the camera to like go up with the plant,
With the plant.
so the world
Now,
is off and the plant is straight.
Somebody asked us, Stuart, and remember on Sunday you'll have a chance to ask us all sorts of questions. But what does Stuart do when he's not at Linda's beck and call?
Stuff.
And he does stuff. Yeah, he doesn't work for me exclusively. He also works for other people, do you not, Stuart?
This is kind of the main gig now.
This is the main gig.
But yeah, I pick up work.
We keep each
I
other
have people
pretty
that I've
busy.
worked for and with over the years that I still do stuff with. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So there. Actually, I don't even need to get another cane. I can probably repurpose this one, Stuart. What do you think?
Looks that way.
Reuse, recycle, repurpose, even a bamboo stake. And for right now, these are probably just going to live in the backyard. You can see that there were already some blooms on it that have passed their prime. And remember, this was on a truck for a while, but nevertheless, it's in very good shape. And I imagine that I will get a sprinkling of blooms here first. Not a lot, but by this fall, I imagine I'll get quite a few, because I don't know how heavily this has already bloomed for this season. But I anticipate I will get some. And of course, sometimes you can even get, because they're reblooming, America's favorite reblooming azalea. You can.
They're so nice they bloom twice.
They're so nice they bloom twice. That's Stuart's.
Mm-hmm.
It's Stuart's little saying, isn't it?
Seemed to make sense.
It did. Now typically, you like to have this as close to the stem as possible. For right now, I'm not going to do that because I'm not sure about injuring some of those roots. So for right now, I'm going to stake it this way, and I may come back in and change that a little bit later. But I think that will suffice, don't you?
Well, yeah, and that was interesting that you can damage the roots by putting that in there. I wouldn't
Yeah,
have
and
thought of that.
I don't know that I would damage them too much. But right now, since this
you don't
plant,
have to, why would you?
Yeah, well, and this plant's already been traumatized from being shipped, relocated, all the way from Alabama to Oklahoma.
It's got jet lag.
It's got jet lag. And I have saved some of this beautiful rainwater in here, Stuart.
Oh, let me see. Hold on. Let's get over here.
Because we all know ain't nothing like good rainwater. And then, as always, I am not completely prepared. Some things haven't changed since last season, Stuart, and that's that I'm never completely prepared when I do these projects. So I'll be right back because I'm going to get something to secure this azalea to the stake. Okay, now I have some string, and yes, this string could rot away over time, but I'm not concerned about that because I'll probably restake this later. And right now, don't you love hearing those bird songs, Stuart?
It's quite nice, yeah.
Yeah, and
I
don't know that our viewers can hear it, but there's also church bells from St. Luke's, which is a magnificent church nearby. I'm going to leave this like this, and I'll probably restake it once it gets to its ultimate destination. Right now, this is kind of a temporary fix. And then I'm going to come back in later, and I'm going to mulch this in pecan holes. And if I so chose, I could underplant it, you know, in annuals or ground cover or something like that. But I don't think I'm going to do that right now. The other thing is, one kind of luxury that I have here at the cottage, at least for the short term, is that I have squirrels, but they don't seem to be, since I don't have lots of my oak trees and things are around, my trees are just getting started, I don't have as many. So now that some of that soil is settled, I'm going to do this.
You missed the squirrels.
And I left about 2 inches at the top so that I'll have room to mulch it and water it. And of course, there'll be a little bit more settling. So squirrels, stay away.
You miss them.
Yeah, probably mulching in pecan holes will just attract the squirrels, won't it, Stuart?
I think that's pretty logical, yeah.
That's pretty logical. Okay, so there's one, and I'll do the other one rather quickly. What do you say?
I think let's speed it up.
So, I think I've just about got this second one done.
Oh.
And what was that?
It was the bag falling off over there.
Okay, we have got a potting soil bag down, Stuart, on the ground. Fortunately, everything here is such a mess
that it can hardly even tell.
That I don't need to worry about that.
And heck, it fell on top of other bags, so it almost really looks like.
I planned that.
Yeah, there you go. Couldn't have been easier.
If our followers know anything about watching us, it's that nothing is perfect, Mistakes happen, and it's kind of like live.
Yeah.
And we don't try to cover up our foibles. Now, I was saying earlier that I hoped it was pretty enough for our viewers because I don't really have that much beautiful to look at back here. However, look at that beautiful blooming red bud behind me.
What is she talking about, y'all?
And the gorgeous trellis work of the fence that Kayla put together. Now, where I am standing here, you guys, in this messy area, I envision, at least at this point, that this is where my raised beds for my vegetable garden will be. It won't be as large as the potager and won't have a lot of boxwoods around it, but nevertheless, I think it'll be functional. Now, it occurs to me pretty obviously, and I'm sure it already, very obviously, has occurred to you guys that no matter what, these are always going to be problematic about standing up and being straight and flying right, particularly in these windy conditions. So what I will do is I will wait till I get them exactly where they're going to be, and then I will take measures to ensure that they will stand up as straight as I can make them without damaging the root balls. And I think that they will always, when things stand up straight, I think they look more beautiful. But that said, after just mentioning that we're not about absolute perfection here, but accessible beauty. And these should be spectacular. And this leads me, Stuart, let's put this question at the beginning, because sometimes I forget to ask my question of the day till the end. So let's put this question at the beginning, and that is, if you were me, where would you put these gorgeous encore topiary azaleas? And on that note, Stuart, I think we're going to call it quits because I've got other fish to fry in the garden. You guys have a great Saturday. Take care.